Hey HBs! Welcome back to Heaving Bosoms and our special one-year episode. This, of course, is the podcast where two long-distance best friends giggle, snort, recap, and review their way through a huge list of romance novels, mostly supplied by you. All right, this week's Patreon shout-out goes out to Christine D. Christine, you are a centaur from Chiron's line. While most centaurs are known for being ruled purely by their animal nature, Chiron the Wise and teacher of Achilles is where you get your lineage. Thus, you possess the best of both. You have the intuition of a healer and scholar, and yet you're not afraid to partake in the pleasures this world has to offer. Your robust, powerful physiology makes you magnetic, and your empathetic, quick-witted, herd-loving mind makes you a treasure your friends and family will cherish forever. I honestly can't believe I'm saying this, but today is our one-year anniversary episode. Thank you to everyone who wrote in, and I'm so sorry we couldn't feature everyone, but each missive meant the absolute world to us. Thank you for listening, for engaging, and for celebrating with us. Here we go. Hi, Erin.
Hey, Melody. Happy podiversary.
Happy 1-year anniversary to us, to you, to us.
To us, to you. But mostly to us.
To us. It's been a crazy wild ride.
Yeah.
And
this is our final episode of the podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
Ah!
It's just the way you said it was like, this has been a wild ride, guys. Like,
I know.
And
that's
now
true.
we're done. Anyway, no, it's not. It's not the final episode, but it is the podiversary episode.
It is. It's very exciting. So it's a little bit late because we originally started this, I think on October 10th is when we were approved on the podcatchers and we actually got this shit out there.
Oh, is that the case?
Yes,
The 10th.
October 9th or 10th. See, I'm already bad at this.
All right. Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. So we're just going to roll with it. And yeah, but it's been insane. Things have happened that I wouldn't have even dared myself to dream.
I just remember when we started and we had our listener. You were already listening, whoever you are.
Yes.
But we were like, okay, 5 people are going to listen to this. And that's fine because we're going to talk and be friends more.
Yes.
Friends who talk more. And that's the whole goal, is just friendship.
That's right.
But, oh my gosh. And I remember immediately you were like, but I want more than friendship. I want listeners. I want people to email us. I want fan art. I want things.
I do.
And now we have all those things.
I know.
It's incredible.
It's banana town. Well, and the crazy thing is that I still feel like it's all about friendship.
Uh-huh.
I get to talk to these people all the time, and they're the only reason I'm still on Facebook.
We have so many new friends.
We have so many new fucking friends.
Remember we were so nervous about starting a group on Facebook because we were worried that no one would come to our party.
Yeah.
And it would just be me and you. Being like, hey, did you read the book this week? Yeah. I'm also on the podcast. But it wasn't.
So true.
Everyone came to our party.
I know. Everybody is so fun and so great, and it's insane. So, all right. We did a call out to the listener, and we were like, listener, send us something you want to know. Something.
Send us questions. Send us emails. Send
Whatever
us
you
stories. And boy, did we get a response.
Yeah. Y'all delivered.
If we don't talk about your email, it's not that we didn't read your email. It's just that we got so many fucking emails.
Yes.
That it's overwhelming. So just know we read your emails. We loved all of them.
Yes.
Here is a sampling of a lot of them.
We're
Here is our favorite 45 of your emails.
Of the emails.
This is going to be a long one.
It is. Yeah, and then I figure we can just chat about other things on the way through. One thing that I definitely want to get to, or maybe we should just start this way, is we talked about doing a segment, and I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, some listener was like, I want to know if your preferences have changed or if romance has changed for you since doing the podcast. And so I re-listened to our first episode.
Oh, no.
And I have to say...
I've never dared to do that. I never.
I know. Yeah, it was hard because the sound quality is so bad at that point.
But also, we're so caffeinated and nervous, too. We're just like, hi, Melody? How? Oh, God. Like, it's very nervous. Like,
totally.
It stresses me out to even listen to my voice.
Well, I did that for us. And I have to say that I did some self-reflection afterwards because as much as I have talked about the ingrained misogyny that a lot of people have when talking about romance, I heard it in myself in that first episode. Yeah, we were talking about, I was like, tell me why you love romance or whatever. And you were like, well, first of all, it is a legitimate love. Like, I do not ironically love romance. And I was like,
oh, and you said you did kind of ironically love romance.
Yeah, I was like, sometimes it really is a snarky love for me. And I have to amend that now because it's not completely untrue still. However, well, like, I think I love snarking about everything.
Certain romances.
Certain romances, certain tropes, certain, everybody has something that doesn't work for them or works for them in a weird squeaky way.
Which it's funny that there was a poll in the cult recently about whether people like it best when we both hate one or one of us hates one or both of us love one. And I think both of us hate one which is hilarious hardcore. Because we've only had 3 episodes where we've hated a book and we have like 50 something episodes. So like, sorry guys, like whoops, we'll try to read more shitty books, I guess. Anyway.
Oh, and feel free, 5-star listener Rex, going forward, if you want to put in your recommendation that you hated this book and you want us to hate on it too, feel free to do that to us.
Yeah, we'll read anything.
It is a fun ride. But I think our listeners are too nice. And so all of them have been like, we only want to give you the best of the best. And
right.
It's worked out well, though.
And also Split. Anyway.
And also Split. Yeah. Yeah. Although she wrote back to us and she was like, yeah, I forgot about all the insane. The only thing I remembered about that book is that she basically fell in love with 2 dudes in the same body, which.
Yeah, she wanted to hear us talk about it. Yeah.
And it's a cool thing. If it were done better. Yeah. So anyway, I have to say that I heard it in myself, and I'm not going to turn this negative. I was a misogynist, and I'm not going to turn it negative. I'm going to say that I'm really, really proud of my growth and my own level of comfort in letting my love flag fly. Like I love this thing, period. I'm not explaining it. I'm not going to justify it to you.
I wake up in a cold sweat knowing that is our most listened to episode. Like when you go on the thing and you sort the numbers, more people have listened to that episode than any other episode. It wakes me in the night. I'm like, oh, God. Some people have only heard that one and they turned it off and they said, no, not these 2.
And they said never again. And frankly, sometimes I don't blame them. Okay.
Oh, no, I wouldn't have listened to this podcast if I only listened to that episode.
Yeah. So do you feel like you've grown over the past year?
Yes, in one very important way.
Is it England times?
It's England times. Here's what it is, guys. I love external conflict. It's not that I cannot read a book with internal conflict, but it has to be real conflict. I get real frustrated if it's just, like not talking to each other because of whatever. And I didn't realize, like, I thought that England Times was floofy in a way that I didn't care about, which it is kind of.
Sometimes.
I'm kind of like, meh. But it puts in an external conflict every time that is real. and that a lot of contemporaries can't manage to do because it's like, oh my God, just pick up a fucking cell phone and text the person that you like them. But in England times, there are these social things and like technological reasons and communication problems and all kinds of stuff that like puts that in. So while I'm not like super duper into the ruining and the dresses and all that, I'm very into the external conflict, it turns out. So thank you, podcast, for making me get past the first 50 pages of several England Times books and at least one Highlander Times book. So that
we have a Highlander Times coming up too. So get excited.
Yeah. Although the cult members seem to, we may hate that book. I don't know. Cult was very like rallying against that book. So we'll see what happens. Anyway.
All right. Okay. So should we start with an email?
Yeah. Let's read these emails.
All right. This is from Kimberly. My favorite part of romance is the trying on of guys. Let me explain, because that is going to need some explanation. I didn't date a lot at all, and certainly not in high school, but I would read all sorts of romance and get to know different types of guys. From the controlling ones of the 1980s novels that couldn't stalk or hurt me when the book was over, to the more touchy-feely ones. That's amazing. The more touchy-feely ones. Do you guys call that dad porn? When a dude is when the dude has rocking interactions with kids. That's so good. And yes, that's dad porn.
Gross.
It gave me a chance to test drive all these relationships in my imagination, which led me to being real sure when I finally met my common law spouse of 12 and a half years. And she goes, I got permission to say this out loud, but
okay.
She said,
so like, it literally says between the three of us.
Yeah.
So, okay, good.
Yeah. Between the three of us, while I was typing this email, oh my God, you guys, he just carried down laundry. That'll do it. My parents were married 51 years, but my entire life was them nagging each other with and without curse words. Hip, hip, hooray for a genre that let me break what could have been a toxic cycle and get myself a sweet partner who says kind things to me.
Aww.
Yes.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Thank you, Kimberly.
I never really thought
true.
of that as like, you think of it as romance novels can help people understand that their happiness is like important and growing, like seeing models of relationships. But I never thought of it as trying to figure out what kind of partner you want in the future.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing.
Yeah. It is a totally cool thing. Yeah. Well, and that's, it's related to one of my favorite things in the romance reading experience, which is just like the self-reflective part of it.
Right.
Where I sit there and I'm like, ooh, I like this,
Why?
But do I know why?
Yeah.
What about my lizard brain? Is that feeding? Like,
I was out to dinner with Leslie last night. We were talking about how we've gotten a lot of female listener requests for male on male books. Mm-hmm. And Leslie was like, why is that? And I'm like, I don't know. I hadn't read a male on male book until Ice Capade, but I will tell you, it works, though.
It does. It does.
It's surprising.
Well, it's like that scene in, God damn it, you know me and any pop culture. I'm not going to be able to come up with it. But it's the Mark Ruffalo one where he works on the house of the lesbian couple.
Oh my gosh, are we doing this again?
Yeah, we're doing it again.
Did this.
Sorry.
But you forgot the title
already.
The last time.
Yeah.
I don't remember it because I haven't seen it.
Told you.
The kids are all right. That's it.
The kids are all right. So in there is a scene where like this lesbian couple, they almost exclusively watch gay male porn together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Huh. And a lot of straight ladies are into a gay dude porn more than I think I have a theory about this actually. I think part of it is that so much of straight porn I think feels a little exploitative, because either it's, hot teen with a or let's come on her face and like never do anything for her.
And I get that as far as like why straight women will watch sometimes lesbian porn more so than two men, because it's about like a lady. It's about the ladies.
Yeah. But in
anyway.
this case, you get to see parts that you like.
That's true. Yeah.
So, plus, it always feels like, plus, it always feels like the dudes are on equal footing power-wise. There's never a point in my mind where I'm like, does she like that? I don't know. How much are they paying her? Yeah. Like, yeah, with the gay dude porn, I don't think about the politics of it ever. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Yeah, and usually, like, the men are going to always be of age, clearly.
Yes.
Like, there's not a lot of, like, barely legal dudes. Right. Watch this 17-and-a-half-year-old, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, Kimberly, we completely agree with you. It's very cool.
Very cool.
So that's a good segue into talking about our top heroes. And then we've also decided to do a top 5 just general
fictional characters.
Yes.
We've gotten requests for this in the past, so we thought we'd do it on the anniversary episode.
Yeah.
For you guys.
Okay.
All right, so what are we doing first? Heroes or...
Yeah, top heroes that we've read on the podcast.
Yes. And that means, you guys, that Drew from Beauty and the Mustache
he can't be on there.
Does not qualify for this list. And I just wanted to put that out there as a disclaimer. Yeah.
Because I was going through like my Kindle and then I was realizing that, oh, fuck, like most Penny Reed dudes cannot be on here because I have read them, but not for podcast.
Mm-hmm. Right. Or like sequels we've read of books that we've read for the podcast.
Exactly.
Can't put them in.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Do you want to go first, Erin?
Are we starting at 5?
Okay.
Let's do.
You know what? I have
my
to
number
do
5.
Quick. Sure.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not. I can't. I have given you my top 5. I am not ranking them. You absolute fascist. I can't do it. You got me.
That's what's hard about it. I'll give you my number 5, then you give me your number 5, then we go up to the top. Because we're going to have the same basic top 5. Don't you think?
All right. Fine.
Do you need to take a moment?
No. I'm good. I wrote them down in sort of order.
So what are you freaking out about?
No, because the favorites game is the hardest thing for me. And now it's even worse.
Okay.
All right, Erin.
Drum roll. My number 5 pick for best hero is Eric from Her Naughty Holiday.
Ooh.
The older, salt and pepper, foul-mouthed.
Can I just say, you chose a dad, dude.
He is a dad, but he is a dad of like a pagan...
A rad teenager.
He's not rocking her to sleep. They aren't like falling in love over like the toddler doing toddler stuff. She's not annoying. She's a full-blown adult character. So
she is. She's awesome. Yeah. And an excellent one. I would totally read a her as a heroine book.
I don't have problem with dads. I have a problem with children in my romance. That's what
taking
I have a
over your
problem with.
romance.
It's not dads. I'll read something about a granddad. I don't care. I just don't want toddlers running around in my romance. It kills my vibe.
Fair. Mm-hmm. All right. I think my 5. I'm doing it. God damn it. My 5 is Josh from The Hating Game.
Really?
Yeah.
Josh from The Hating Game did not make my list.
Well, neither did Eric. Eric didn't make my list.
Because I tried to think of it. There are books that I liked more than these heroes. But, like, I don't think I liked The Hating Game because of Josh Templeman. I think I liked The Hating Game despite Josh Templeman. In a lot of ways.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the hard thing, right? I think that was one of the things I talked about with Tessa Dare in our interview was like, there are heroes that I like for me, and there are heroes that I like because of the heroine.
Because of the heroine, yeah.
Or like for the heroine, or, you know, it's very situational. And Josh is definitely on the cusp there, but he made my top 5.
All right.
So,
okay. My number 4.
Actually, I think I learned something about myself today, and we can talk about that a little bit later. I learned something about myself as I was compiling these lists. So go ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
My number 4 is Adrian Hunter of the Courtney Milan After the Wedding.
Oh,
did you forget him?
Yes.
Yes.
God damn it. That's the other reason I hate doing these top lists. I knew you were going to say something and I was going to be like, oh, no, he should be on my list. Yeah, he probably would have beat out Josh in The Hating Game, but whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
He was a good one.
an excellent choice.
Thank you.
Really, really cool dude.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My number 4 is Ash from The Duchess Deal.
How? How is it your number 4? That blows my mind. What could your top 3 possibly be?
I mean, they're good.
Oh my God.
So,
yeah, that's just a wrong decision. Number 3.
Fair.
Number 3 is Cooper the Werewolf from How to Flirt with a Naked Werewolf.
Okay, did not make my list. Cooper the Werewolf. I can see
Cooper
that.
the Werewolf.
See, that was one of those that I liked. I liked him for her. I liked him.
But you didn't
I
like
liked
him.
her so much. But I don't think I
just
got
felt
enough.
like I couldn't make this list without a werv. And while he's not my favorite werv in the world, he is the only werv we've read. So there we go.
My number 3. Okay, my top 3 are really hard. And I don't want to commit to these rankings because I know that you're like, that they're just going to move around when I think about a different facet of their personality.
It's just so funny that you can't live.
This is why I would be the worst bachelorette in the world. I would end up being the one that was just like, how about we end up in a triad? Like, why don't we do that? Because I can't choose.
I would watch that season like
Everybody
a hawk.
would.
I would love it.
Yeah.
I would not be able to tear my eyes away from you trying to choose.
Oh, totally. And I would be kissing everyone immediately, all the
Night
time.
1, it would just be like, form a line.
Form a line. Get up in here.
Please use hands.
That's right. That's right. Okay. My number 3 is To Be So.
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
To Be So did not make my list.
Oh, man, that sex education loving prince of my dreams. Oh, yeah.
This matriarchal god.
Oh, every time he would say goddess while I'm on top of him, like, I don't know. I don't know how you can go wrong, frankly. Okay,
right,
you're number 2.
My number 2 is Michael Fan from the Kiss Quotient.
Oh.
Is he your number 1? He's your number 1, I bet. He is. Okay. He's my number 2.
All right. My number 2 is Captain Mackenzie.
Really?
Yes.
You know,
Yep.
Captain Mackenzie did not make my list, but I thought about it and I feel like I liked that book not because Captain Mackenzie, though.
Oh, no, you loved her.
I loved her.
Yeah.
And by her, I mean Tessa Dare. I just loved that
obviously.
book more than I don't think I loved him as much.
Yeah, no, I loved him. Although I
Yeah.
think now that I'm thinking about it, I would put him on 3 and To Be So in number 2. But
I swear to God.
I'm never going to be good at this. Okay?
I
Stop
know,
trying to make me
sorry.
good at this. Okay.
My number 1 is the Duke of Ashbury forever.
I knew it. I knew it.
I love him. I love him. He's so great.
Yeah, Ash is, he's basically perfect for you.
He's my
frankly.
perfect man.
Uh-huh.
And you, Michael Fan?
And mine is his name is not Michael Fan, though.
Oh, I thought it was.
That's his hookah name.
That's the one I want.
That's fair. Point taken. Yeah,
That's
no,
the
Michael
version
from
I'm here
the Kiss
for.
Quotient. Yeah, with his just his full body dragon tattoo and his devotion to all of his family and to her and to. Yep.
All right, so there you have it, guys. Should we do more emails and then go back to our fictional characters?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
This is from Emily. I probably have a common story around reading romance. Books have been my comfort and an escape since I was a kid. But I didn't start reading romance until fairly recently. Insert awful life experiences here. For me, it was secondary infertility, ovarian tumor, and 3 miscarriages within a year.
Oof.
2016 sucked for so many reasons. And Emily, as a woman who has had 2 miscarriages, I completely feel you, and I'm glad you're on the road to healing. Reading has always been my unprofessional therapy, and a guaranteed HEA and awesome bedroom times is exactly what the doctor ordered. I found your podcast sometime last fall, and it's felt like I get to chat with my besties about books on my commute to work every day. had to stop listening at work because I was literally cackling and terrifying the patrons in the library because she works as an archivist.
I love it.
And then she ends it with, "Thank you for being your awesome selves."
Thank you, Emily.
Yeah. Yeah. The escape is like super, super important.
Especially now.
Yeah. It really is just like a different version of therapy in a lot of ways, especially since, you know what? The other thing I love is just that romance is a place where your interior world and the character's emotional journey are elevated to the utmost importance. Mm-hmm. Whereas I feel like, not necessarily in other fiction, but like, you know, overall, I hear myself do it. I'm like, oh, I think I'm just being irrational, or I think I'm just, and like trying to downplay that instead of sort of honoring our feelings and like the way that we react to things and figuring out like what triggers what and, you know, that sort of thing. I love that romance is a space where feelings matter all the time.
Right.
You know, like they're,
Yep.
It really is. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
And then the next email has a question that you wanted to answer too.
Yeah, I had this. I was going to say we should talk about this. And then Jen R asked us, she says, "Hello, ladies. I'm curious to know how you feel your friendship has grown during this year. From listening to you, I feel like you've both gone through some personal struggles this year. How do you feel the podcast has helped you through those, even though the podcast could be aiding in the stress?" Yes. On a side note, thoroughly enjoy the show. I even listen to the shows when I know I'm not ever going to read the book. I think you two are a great example of friendship, being present in your friendship and not taking yourselves too seriously. Another side note, I pour candles on a back burner in my brain. So I don't know if that means that she like actually pours candles.
She says I pour candles and on a back burner in my brain, I'm working on an HP inspired scent.
I read that wrong both times. The first time I read the email and when I was reading that out loud.
Do you think she's just like going through these elaborate fantasies where she mixes and pours candles?
Yes. But I think that's totally legit.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's like waitress. You know, she thinks about pies in her brain. She also makes pies, but her daydreams are always different kinds of, you know, marshmallow mermaid pies.
You know, that could also be true for our friend Jen R, since she also pours candles
in her brain. Sorry, Jen R. Anyway, she says she's working on an HB inspired scent. Number 1 being England Times.
It's so good. Yeah. So, let us know if that happens.
Yeah. Because
that sounds
I want to
amazing.
smell England Times. I hope that also means that you sell these candles so that we can get one.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. Okay. So how our friendship has changed. Okay. First of all, I realized a couple of weeks ago, I think it has a lot to do with like where we are stress-wise in the rest of our lives.
I feel like where we are stress-wise at any given moment, like it can change on a dime. It
can. Well, I mean, we've talked about that. I will be incredibly, incredibly stressed until we hit record. And then I'm like, oh shit, I've landed in my happy place. I'm good. Okay. But I have noticed that, and I've been trying to do it a little bit less. I feel like one way that my interactions with you has changed is just that a lot of times all we talk about is podcast. I mean, there are so many different facets of this thing. You know, we're either sending each other screenshots of people who have requested to be in the cult, or, you know, talking about logistical scheduling shit or whatever. Like, you know, we're Muppet texting like book or like whatever. But we do talk a ton now, which is amazing. But I feel like a lot of times I have to be like, hey, take your like business hat off and ask how Erin is doing, you know?
Yeah. And I find that I think that through the podcast, through this past year, I feel like I know you better. Like I feel like I know your rhythms better. Like I know you better. Like this is going to sound hokey, but like I know like your soul parts better. But I know much less about what's happening in your life because we don't talk about what did you do yesterday anymore, unless it's like banter at the beginning of a podcast. So like we used to have this friendship where we'd call each other like, I don't know, every month, every 3 months or so and just catch up.
Yeah.
And it would be like riding a bike and we'd have a great conversation that lasted like 4 hours and then it would be done. I feel like those things we used to talk about, I no longer know about you, but I feel like I know you better.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
I would completely agree with that. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I also feel like we share a lot more in each other's bad things that are happening much more than good things now because they affect the podcast. I'll be like, I'm having a bad day, so I can't do X, Y, or Z, or I'm stressed out or whatever. Whereas I feel like we used to catch up periodically and then be like, oh, I'm not going to tell her about when I got sad 3 weeks ago. Like that doesn't make sense in that kind of a catch up. But now I know every single time you get sad. And I feel like I don't know as many of the times where you get happy.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
That makes sense. Well, I'm also not super good at sharing the happy stuff just because I don't know. It always feels weird. It always feels like, am I sharing a happy thing? Is this bragging? Is this,
but I think it's much easier to do in a catch up than it is in a daily friendship.
Absolutely. And I will say one thing that I sort of want to, podcast resolution for the coming year. Okay.
Oh,
Whoa.
no.
Oh,
all
shit.
Right.
Oh, shit. I just came up with that on the spot. So if you want to start thinking about that, I don't get enough of your work stories anymore because I am a creepy weirdo true crime fanatic and I do not get enough of your this crazy thing happened stories.
Well, you wouldn't anyway because I switched to defense and it's much more
that's
closed
right
anyway. So like just so you know, you're not really missing out because I can't be like, oh, hey, I had this crazy client. Like you can do that a little more on the other side or when you're just kind of like clerking or just like working for a court or something. But yeah, so just so you know, you're not like missing out very much.
Okay. All right. So I forgot about the extra levels of privilege that I can't bust into. Fair.
So you're not missing out too much.
All right.
But I do, I've learned a lot about you this year. That's the answer to the question. And I think my very favorite episode is still Firelight because we had a full-blown fight in the middle of that episode for like a while. And it was all recorded. Like we were like, stop recording. We need to talk about some stuff.
We're not going to be able to finish this episode unless we clear the air.
And I know where it happens. But I don't think you can hear it when you listen back at the episode if you're not you or I.
Yep.
And that's why that's my favorite episode because that's kind of how I feel like our friendship is. It's like periodically we just have to be like, I have to say some things to you because we are so different.
Yeah.
And we just won't say, we'll just be like, it's okay. Melody's a melody and Erin's an Erin. And I'm just going to let it slide off and it's fine. And that used to be okay because I would just be like, well, I'm not going to talk to her for 3 months anyway. So I'll just forget about that and it's fine. And now it's not like that. We've got to confront stuff head on.
And I like it though.
I like it better. Yeah.
I like it a lot. Yeah. Well, especially since I think our conflict styles are fairly similar.
That's true.
In that both of us we're upfront, but we're both very careful too.
Yes. I think we're very good at fighting. It may be the biggest strength superpower in our friendship. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
So
we have nothing in common but romance novels, and we're really good at talking it out.
It's true,
and that's all you need, guys. That's all you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, all right. So Jen also asked, from listening to you two, I feel like you both have gone through some personal struggles this year. How do you feel the podcast has helped you through those, even though the podcast could be aiding in the stress?
I think you probably have more to say about this than I do.
I do, yeah.
I think reading the books has helped me. I don't think the podcast has helped me through any kind of personal struggles, but I do feel like romance novels have.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, so I think the podcast has just helped me because my natural inclination when things go bad is to just hibernate completely. There were probably times during those, friendship lapses where I was just not talking to anyone if they weren't in front of my face on purpose. So, I go through periods where of just no contact. I just hermit. And so the podcast has been really helpful because no matter where I'm at, I get to talk to you and I get to remind myself that I have really amazing people in my life. And talking to people, even if it's not about the shitty thing that's going on, or especially if it's not about the shitty thing that's going on, is really helpful for my mood and my mental outlook in general. And the podcast has also helped me because I've never been like particularly or specifically career oriented. And up until this point, I was just sort of at a job that I didn't hate and it was fine and like whatever. But now I feel like I have more specific goals, if that makes sense. Like I have it's a thing that I can put energy into and it's mine. And that feels really good instead of putting energy into it and being like, well, this fucking person isn't going to care. Why am I going above and beyond when I know that it's not going to be noticed? Whereas, the podcast is something that I have ownership over, sort of. Yeah. So that's been really nice.
Reading the books has helped me. The problem, see, we are so opposite that my problem in my life is that I have far too many things that I have taken ownership of and are my things. And I'm just crushing those ping pong balls. I'm just flattening them out. And, like, putting more, I'm waiting for the sand to soak up the water and like putting a little more water in there. And like, that's my jar. And recently I was talking to somebody about how the number of things in my life are killing me. And and they said, well, what's the end game with podcast? Like, we're talking about what I can cut out of my life as far as like various activities, various people, even, what can I do to not have this be so much?
Yeah.
And they're like, what's the end game with podcasts? Like, you're going to be like a career podcaster? You're going to make money and eventually quit your job? But like, is there a certain amount of time where you're not going to do this anymore? Like, what is the 5-year plan with podcast? What is the end game? And I started kind of thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, what is the end game with podcast? What, I'm just going to devote like 15 hours, 20 hours of my week to podcast and like indefinitely for the rest of my life? Like, I don't know. And then that was the day that one of the HBs published a novel and dedicated it to us. And that is the end game with podcast.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it was just like a message from the universe. It was just like, oh my gosh. I can't.
Yeah. Like,
I could talk about it at length, but like, I feel like the most secret dream of my heart for my whole life has been to publish a book, but it's like so deep down, such a horrifying thing that it's like you don't even want to say it out loud because it's like, and the idea that we helped inspire somebody to do that who would want to do it too, oh gosh, that's the end game. Anyway, so that's how podcast has helped me, I guess, in that way.
And doing the books, I shared with the patrons a while ago, but this year has been really rough. Like I think the biggest thing that has happened is when times were the darkest, like I don't think I would have found the Courtney Milan box set that got me through my miscarriage at Christmas last year. Like I don't think I would have found the place where, in the cult, our awesome listeners will randomly post just like things that are like, hey, if you've gotten through the day and you're breathing, then I'm proud of you. Or whatever. It's just such a supportive
that cult, guys, if you're listening to this and you haven't joined that Facebook group, it's so incredible. It's so, when the girl posted, here's the reason we're trying to stay true to our, like, if you write a book, we're not going to promote it on the podcast because we don't want to give some people promotion. We've gotten many, many emails and messages about, I wrote a book, will you talk about it on the podcast? And we're not going to do that because we don't want to promote some but not others. And we just don't want that. And we don't want to not like your book. I'm not implying that we didn't like anybody's book. I'm just saying, like,
It's just something
we just
we
want to
don't
support
want.
all of you, so we can't do it for any of you. But if you want to read this book, she posted about it on the cult. And it was basically like, hey, I wrote this book and I put it out there and none of my friends or family looked at it.
Yeah.
And there were hundreds of comments about people who gone and bought her book and read it that day and loved it and encouraged her. And you guys, if you are not in the cult, you need to get in the cult.
Yeah. It's the happiest place on the internet.
Yeah. Even if you don't want to listen to the podcast anymore, still be in the cult because it's so great.
Yeah,
it's the best place on the internet.
Okay, now we have a funny story. Do you want to read the funny story?
Okay, this is from Blair. I used to write Gilmore Girls fan fiction. I'm not a Gilmore Girls person, so I don't know this stuff.
Oh, man.
But I was a huge Rory and Jess shipper, and I wrote so many fics for that pairing. In fact, the first erotic scenes I ever wrote were for Rory and Jess. However, being a young teen with no computer of her own, I would use my mom's laptop and then save the stories to a USB drive. I was probably around 14, maybe. Anyway, one day I left the USB on her office table and she thought it was hers for work. So she put it in her computer and opened it only to see that it was documents and documents of my writing. My mom always begged me to let her read what I wrote, but I mean, I was 14 writing erotica, okay? I usually just told her no. Needless to say, she did open a document and read it. When I got home from school, she walked into my bedroom, apologized for violating my privacy, and then set a box of condoms on my nightstand. We now get into a fit of giggles every time we talk about that because the story from her point of view is so much better. Is my 14-year-old daughter doing this already? And if she is, how is she doing this? Keeps reading. And this. That's so great.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks, Blair.
Can I just say, yeah, first of all, Blair, thank you. That was a gem. I have laughed every time I have read that email over again.
Yeah.
It is so good. But also, mom goals.
Yeah.
As the mom in this pairing.
You've got a great mom.
I would
Congrats on the mom.
Yeah. You have got an excellent mom. And I can only dream of being this mom someday. Just incredible. Supportive. It's excellent. Okay.
All
Next
right.
one is from Becky. Ooh, Erin.
Yeah.
This one's
me?
for you.
Oh.
Are you ready? So Becky says, hello, Marin. Erin. Hello, Marin. Is what just happened in my head.
I know a couple Marins.
Yeah.
It's a name.
There is so much I love about your podcast, but my favorite thing of all time needs to be revisited is TONKU. Specifically, what he looked like and where you imagine he is in life right now.
Oh my God.
Oh, she's the one who wanted to know our top 5 favorite romances of all time.
We didn't do our top 5. Listen, guys.
Didn't. And also, you can't ask me to do that, Becky. You can't.
Melody's is Outlander, 100% for sure. And mine is Sookie Stackhouse. So there you go. The whole series.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me about TONKU.
God. So, okay, listen. All right, guys, I got to level with you. I talked about TONKU in the Love Hacked episode. TONKU is one of my favorite stories, but after TONKU, after I Googled where is TONKU into Google Maps, I never actually tried to find TONKU ever again. So then we did this episode, and then I got very nervous that people were going to try to find TONKU. Even though at the time we had like nominal listeners.
Yeah.
But the more popular the podcast has gotten, the more I've been like, TONKU's not a popular name. So guys, listen, I found TONKU. All right, here are some things. TONKU's a babe.
He is a babe.
Always has been, always will be. My love of TONKU, first of all, he became hotter in my head as the years went on, but I found him. He is a babe. I recognized him as TONKU, but I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Like a little less than I was like, oh,
well, you
fine.
probably also had like gin goggles on at that point. So.
Sure. Fine. But also like, he was like charismatic. You know how some bartenders are just like,
oh yeah,
very charismatic. First of all, okay, TONKU is not a Pacific Islander.
Thank you for finally clearing that up because I was gonna.
Did you know? You guys know I'm terrible at identifying races in a very embarrassing way.
Yeah, me too.
You guys know that from every time I've misidentified a character in a book, which is often. TONKU is actually an Indian man. Whatever. I can't believe I'm just giving you more details about him. But here's the thing. He is literally exactly where I left him. So I don't have to imagine where he's at now 7 years later, because he's right fucking there. And please, I'm begging you guys, do not find TONKU. Like,
there will be no meetups at his bar.
Please do not find TONKU. He's remarkably easy to find. I just had to put TONKU into Google and I found him. So please do not find him. Do not tell him about the podcast. Not for my embarrassment, but because this is just a man trying to live his life.
That's right.
And I don't want him to know we're all out here looking for him. I mean, what a terrible thing I've done. So just everybody chill out about TONKU. He's a babe, also, but he seems to be married, so he's not even available.
We think he's super taken.
God, what did I do?
Oh, man. Everything about this whole situation just makes me the happiest.
Oh, God. I learned my lesson.
Because, just the story on its own is goddamn gold. But your secondary weirdness over it is even better.
Oh, yeah, because Melody has been present for, my constant winkly, hand wringing over what if they find TONKU. Because, God. Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, and then she also wanted to know.
Yeah, she says, tell me more.
Together.
Yeah. I don't know what you want to know. The last time we were together, you were home for a wedding and I was home for a funeral. We were both invited to that wedding, but I wasn't going to go. And then my friend died, so I had to go home for a funeral. And then we met up for 10 minutes right before you went to the airport.
We had breakfast, madam. It was more than 10 minutes. We had breakfast and you came back to my Airbnb. Yeah, bitch.
Oh, yeah, because Ben was there at breakfast.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. No, we had breakfast and then Ben showed up. Yeah, he did. Mm-hmm. He showed up. We saw him on the street and we waved at him out the window. Yeah, now I remember. So, okay.
And remember, he had that welt on his back that literally looked like tire tread marks.
God, yeah. So Melody and Ben went to this wedding. You guys don't know Ben, but whatever. I think we have talked about Ben, though, on the podcast,
yeah, Ben's
right?
The best.
They got so drunk that Ben woke up the next day with just this crazy welt on his back that was shaped like a tire mark.
It really looked like tire treads.
But not like a bicycle, like a car.
Like a car tire. Like a tractor tire at the very least.
And he has no recollection of what happened.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, that's what weddings are for, right?
How dare you? Do not. Keep your shit together.
Can't wait. That's going to be the first time I'll be drunk in a really long time, is at your wedding.
Oh my God.
Super exciting.
Nice. Okay. All right.
Can't wait. Okay. You want to read this one?
Okay.
Nat? Yeah.
This is Nat M. Nat M. No, she just wrote Nat M, but we know. Hey, ladies. Here are some 1-year anniversary thoughts. Funny podcast listening story. I listened to your podcast on my commute and I had loaded up my kids to go somewhere and the podcast started automatically playing. How many of these stories do we have?
So
roughly
many.
1,000. Like, people email us all the time and they're like, my podcast accidentally connected to this or that Bluetooth, and anyway, chaos,
so
horrible things, children learning things, bosses learning things, drive-through people learning things. Erin was saying something or relaying part of a story that included a fucking cat, which I cannot remember any time there was a fucking cat, but whatever. I'm feverishly trying to pause the pod, and my daughter from the back goes, "A bucket hat? That would be cool." And I'm just like, yeah, bud, that would be pretty cool.
Pretty darn cool.
I just want to say, I forget who recently, I think this might have been an anniversary email, so we might read it, but when you go to stop the podcast, when it connects to your Bluetooth, because it will happen to you, it's happened to everybody, go for the volume. Don't go for
every
the
time.
iPhone settings because it seems like people are like fishing in their purses. They're trying to find the settings. They're trying to find the pause button. Volume is an easily accessible way to do it. Because this woman was like, I forget who it was, but was like an idiot. I dove into my purse to find my phone instead of just turning the volume down. All right. And she says about the HBGFC, there's never been a community, real or virtual, that has made me so seen as the cult. I have lolled, found new music, bought products, supportive movements, etc. from this group. All ladies and dudes. There's dudes in there too. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Thank you guys for creating this group and allowing the freedom to express thoughts and feelings without over moderating. You guys rule. Aww. It's been a great year for both of you, and I've read more books for more genres that I would not have picked than ever. That was very sweet.
Nat.
Thank you, Nat.
Oh. Also, my brother is one of the dudes in the cult.
Yeah. Your brother,
and he's
my
a
friend
podcast
Brandon.
listener too.
Yeah. My friend Brandon, who is a devout listener and patron. My friend Andy, also a devout listener and patron. And my friend Nathan, who is, I think, an occasional listener and maybe patron. I can't remember if he is or not. So, like, 3 of those are cheats. 4 if you count your brother. But there are, like, legit men in the cult.
Well, and,
who, like,
and they actually listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight men, too. I think far more straight men than gay men.
So many straight men. And one of the straight dudes, remember, just posted, we haven't been able to make a social media announcement because we're telling our family and everybody first.
Yeah.
My fiance and I got engaged, and he like posted pictures, and it was the sweetest thing in the world.
We were the first to know.
And they listen to the podcast together, which is like, there are quite a few couples that listen to the podcast together, which I find excellent.
Yes.
What a good idea, guys. All right.
Next one is from our resident bear expert, Leanne.
Yeah. All right. Can you do it in an Australian accent?
No.
Top 5 snakes.
She's not. She lives in Australia, but she's from South Africa, so I can't even begin to do a South African / Australian, like an expat from. No, I cannot. I have no idea how Leanne sounds, but I'm sure it's crazy, all due respect. Like, I'm sure it is crazy to my ear, and I will never, ever master that.
I'm all about it. Okay, Erin, top 5 snacks, go.
Oh, I don't know if I have 5 snacks. God. I don't know.
Okay, well, first of all, dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate. Yeah, that's a snack.
Dark chocolate is a top snack for me.
You know what the best chocolate is?
What one? Tell me all about it.
You know what? I'm not going to... This is going to be hard. What's the company? Moonstruck? Is that one? From the Pacific Northwest? It's something like that. Know. The one with the purple wrapper. That's the best one.
Well, it sounds like you are an expert in this field.
That's what I get.
Dark chocolate is for me.
Okay.
Raw nuts is definitely a top 5 snack of mine. What,
Jesus
bro?
Christ. Coconut shavings.
I like popping my own popcorn.
I spray just a little bit of flavors on it. And just my plain popcorns. And
don't try to be
tried baby carrots because they're so delectable. And I'll just have like a one little Ghirardelli square and just take a tiny bite off the corner.
There's no way. Are you kidding? I have never said those words. I will eat an entire Ghirardelli bar.
I know, but like your foods are so healthy. It's just how much you eat of them that is or how hungry you get for them, I guess is what I should say. Not how much you eat of them. I didn't mean it like that.
Oh, no,
because we talk about your hangriness a lot.
Control. Yeah.
But Jesus Christ, you crave like raw almonds, which is ridiculous to me. Anyway, move on. Coconut shavings, I'm sure is going to be in there.
Listen, no, that's not in there. And now I forget. Oh, can I tell you what I did the other day though? I pop popcorn in this thing. I like oil popcorn.
Yeah.
And then I also minced up some garlic. And so halfway through the popping process, I toss the minced garlic in there with some black pepper and some salt. And oh my gosh, roasted garlic popcorn, everybody.
That does sound...
It was amazing.
Very good. Mm-hmm.
It hurts all of your hand parts because it will pop onto you. but it's worth it. Super worth it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and frankly, one of my top snacks ever is the combination of dark chocolate and nuts, like a cluster of some sort, please.
Yeah, that purple Moonstruck bar is a toffee sort of candy bar, toffee chocolate bar. Love it. It's my favorite. Like the hard toffee, not like a creamy. I don't like a creamy in there. Let's see. The Tillamook ice cream that's like the s'mores.
Oh,
like that.
Any kind of non-dairy ice cream is for me.
I'll tell you that mochi ice creams are my faves.
Oh, I miss mochi ice cream.
I eat a lot of sunflower seeds. Word up to Fox Mulder.
Oh, you're so healthy with your
That's not healthy. That's like
seeds.
A sodium overload. I will eat sunflower seeds until my tongue has like a wound on it and I have to stop.
That's the only way to do it.
That's not healthy. That's a problem. Then you can't taste for like 2 days because you have a wound.
Well, and gummy vitamins is really your number one snack.
Number one. Gummy vitamins.
Indeed. Oh, yeah. Erin, do you want to talk about how you met David, or is that a Patreon only?
No, Match.com. Woo!
But it's Alaskan Match.com. You had to go through.
Oh, God. Were you around for that? Yeah, I'm sure you were.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So I just gone through a breakup that had lasted a good 6 months. Got ups on the Match.com at the urging of my friends. And so I put up a profile and then like I went to have dinner or something and I came back and I got more. And I'm not saying that I'm a sexy lady. I'm just saying I was the only lady because I got a crazy response and I didn't know what to do. So I just kind of turned it over to my coworker, Matt. And I was like, just find me a man in here. And he found me like 3. So I messaged 3 guys. They were all fine, but David was the only one who kind of like within a couple of days took the initiative and was like, all right, I would like to take you to dinner. Here's the plan. We meet here. We went to a ice sculpture competition. He's like, This is this Saturday. I want to take you to this ice sculpture competition. And then afterwards dinner. And I'd like to, pick you up at this time and blah, blah, blah.
Oh my gosh.
And everybody else. And so we went on the date. The date was great. We closed the restaurant. We were at the restaurant for like 5 hours or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
I did not let him pick me up.
Smart.
Smart. And then also I later found out that he brought a gun on that date. I let him walk me to my car, Jesus Christ. And then he smooched me at my car and it was a smooch I wasn't expecting. So it wasn't a good smooch because I was like, because I was like not paying attention and he just like went in for it and I was like it was not great. And then I got back to my house and I texted Leslie. I'm like, I really liked this guy, but the smooch wasn't good and I don't know what to do, And so I thought I blew it. And then he had to go out of town for like 3 weeks. And while he was out of town, I went out drinking with my coworkers and I had told them that I really liked this guy. They took my phone while I was in the bathroom and started texting him. Like, I miss you so much, baby. I wish you were here. That was the best date of my life. And like creepy stuff that's creepy.
No.
And I nearly lost him because I was like, that was my friends. And he was just like, I don't know if I want to be like, this seems like a lot. Yeah. So thanks, assholes.
And then you immediately locked your phone so that nobody can get into it.
Yeah. And then our second date, we went to a hockey game and we were on the kiss cam.
Oh.
Yeah. So we made up for it.
Wow.
I still don't know if he rigged it or not. He won't say. But knowing David, I feel like he may have. Okay, so that's that. There you go.
Whoa. I dig it. I'm glad that it didn't get turned off by the creepy weird friends. I mean, I feel like you would never say, like, you're not a baby person, right?
No,
you're a babe
and I think
person.
Yeah, I'll say babe, but I would never text somebody 2 weeks later and be like, I miss you so much. In fact, we went on vacay to Hawaii like 2 months into our relationship, like very early, because we were like, well, we could hang out here or we could go to Hawaii. Let's go to Hawaii. There's cheap tickets.
Yeah.
We got back from Hawaii and I was like, I think it's time to shut down our Match.coms. And he's like, you haven't shut down your Match.coms? And I was like, no, no. And like a couple months later, I'm like, I'm going to start calling you my boyfriend. And he's like, you're not? calling me your boyfriend. So if anything, I'm very much the opposite of that. Not that I was dating other people. I just wasn't ready to. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's like when Michael was super, super nervous to ask me if I wanted to maybe be monogamous.
Well, I mean, that's like bigger than a proposal for a Melody, I think.
It is. It is. Like, yeah.
You'll marry somebody, but monogamy, I don't know about that.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. All right. Next one is from Amanda. I love this one.
This is my favorite.
One of my New Year's resolutions for 2018 was to use the fitness center at work and jog on the treadmill a couple of times a week. Then on January 4th, I sprained my ankle. Ugh. About mid-January, I started listening to the podcast as something different to get me through the stretching and weight routines I was doing until my ankle got better. I was 4 weeks out from the injury and first time walking on the treadmill. I was listening to the Ice Capade episode. I started laughing so hard when Erin said that the gayest thing about the book was the descriptions.
Specifically of the armoire.
Yes,
the green armoire.
The gayest thing about the book was not the anal sex.
Yeah.
It was the descriptions of the interior design.
Yeah, yeah.
That I stepped wrong with my bad ankle, crashed down, and fell off the treadmill. That's when I knew this podcast was for me.
There's nothing funnier or more dangerous than falling off a treadmill. Like, there's nothing funnier or scarier to watch. It's so great. I'm so sorry that happened to you, Amanda.
Yeah, seriously. And also, thank you for your reaction being, these ladies are awesome, instead of how dare they.
Yeah. And also, why didn't you email us immediately when that happened? Guys, if you fall off of a treadmill, you need to tell us whether it's podcast related or not. We just want to know. That's so funny.
Yeah. This has been, you really kept that to yourself, Amanda. All right.
All right. Should we do our top 5 fictional characters?
An excellent notion.
It just occurred to me that all 5 of mine are from TV.
Mine's sort of, the same.
Okay.
Sort of. Not
I'm so
necessarily.
excited. I'm so excited.
Well, I don't have these ranked.
God damn it, Melody. Top 5 does not mean just 5.
I wrote down 5. That's what that means.
It's top 5. You have to rank them. Take a moment, gather your thoughts.
God damn it.
Don't think about it. Just do. Don't think. Just do.
All right. I'll do. Don't think, just do.
Who's your number 5?
Be anything. No, who's your number 5?
My number 5 is the King in the North, Jon Snow.
Oh, wow.
He just wants to kiss you there.
He does. He wants to kiss you right there.
I love Jon Snow. I love how noble he is. I love his adventure hair.
Yeah.
I love how he just is who he is. He just wants to do the right thing. And gosh, oh my gosh, he'll just face down a whole army because it's the right thing to do, and he's going to die and come back. And he's so great. He's not really always right, but he's always trying. I love Jon Snow.
Absolutely. Jon Snow has the integrity that you need.
And I love Jon Snow for loving Ygritte, who I also love so much. Favorite character, Ygritte.
Yeah, I hear that. All right, I think my top 5, my 5 probably, if we have to do it that way.
And we do.
Is, I don't know who my number 1 is going to be. That's the hard thing.
You're going to find out when you say it.
See, and the other thing is, I know that you're going to think of all these characters that I'm like, they didn't even cross my mind parts. Like, no.
I worked hard on this. Like, I worked very hard on my list.
Shoot. Okay, my number 5 is Coach Taylor.
Who's
from
Coach
Friday
Taylor?
Night Lights.
Oh, wait, who's the actor?
The coach.
He's the coach. He's the grown-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what is his name? What is that actor's name?
No idea. He is the husband of Tammy Taylor. He is, while their relationship is necessarily set up so that his goals are often set before hers, he is always mindful of keeping Tammy's goals at the front of his brain too. And when he slips up, he always owns it. And he's always like, I was a dick just now, And like the thing I want shouldn't be above the thing you want just because I'm the dude. And it is hot.
Kyle Chandler. I have identified him as a sexy man, although I have not watched that show. Because growing up, I watched Early Edition. Are you familiar with this television show? Because no one is. It was on like ABC or something, and my parents watched it, and it's about a man who gets tomorrow's newspaper today, and he has to go save everybody in the newspaper. There's also a cat involved. I don't remember how, and a blind lady. But anyway, I remember being a child being like, I believe this man to be a hero who is handsome. So I'm with you on that guy. Kyle Chandler.
Yeah, okay. Kyle Chandler. He's really good.
All right.
Oh, actually, but I will say that although I would never marry him, my heart really lies with Tim Riggins.
Is that another Friday Night Lights? Is he a child character or a grown-up character?
He was originally one of the students, and then he like ages out. He's a constant fuck up with a heart of gold, and he just needs to be loved. And maybe you could fix him. Like he scratches that part of my Ooh. Okay, go ahead. All
right, number 4.
God damn it!
He's a werv. He's my favorite werv. Alcine Herveau. Is he on your list?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, God. Alcine. I just.
Oh, no, I knocked him off my list. Fuck.
Go ahead. I had to knock him down after I did some thinking. But he's clearly, if he could just get over Debbie Pelt, he would be the perfect man for Sookie and me.
And anybody.
And I remember watching the show. The True Blood show was I was very nervous about it because I adored those books so much, even though, I mean, listen, there's a lot of problems.
Oh, yeah. They're problematic.
It's not even problematic. Some it's just problems. Like, I super love Charlaine Harris, but she will just straight up forget plot points that she already wrote about, and she will just rewrite them as if it didn't happen, or like she will kill a character and just fucking forget. Like it happens all the time. So I mean, they're not the best, but I so love those books, and I read them early in my romance journey. And when True Blood came out, I was just like, God, how are they going to fuck this up? Like, and they didn't. They did something that I think was even better than the books.
Yeah,
and Alcine doesn't come in until like season 2 or even maybe it's late season 1. I don't know. Or maybe it could be even 3. But I just remember Alcine is my favorite character. And it's like, if they did this to Eric Northman, who I was not attracted to in the books at all, what are they going to do? Is it going to be okay? Like, is it going to be okay? And it was okay. Like, it was fine.
And it was better than okay.
It was good.
It was good shit. All right. I think my number 4 is Philip from The Americans.
These are all going to be shows I don't even watch. Oh, no. Is he the main guy?
Yeah.
I'm not attracted to that man at all.
No, I don't want to like fuck his brains out. I don't know. Here's what I learned about myself. This is what we have to come back to. Is that my priorities have shifted in a way that is telling, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. I know that it's a good thing. I feel like it's a sign of my growing maturity, but like I don't want to bone Philip on sight. I like him as a partner. I see. He's not. I wouldn't like. You'd be a Russian spy in a coffee shop. Yeah. He could turn me into a Ruski, maybe. You know, I would put a body in my trunk for him, and frankly, he would put a body in his trunk for me without even thinking about it. You know,
think he'd put a lot of things in your trunk if you wanted.
He would.
It's really a joke about anal. It was an anal joke. Yeah, it was.
Interesting. Didn't catch that. Yeah. So Philip, I just love him, and watching them negotiate their relationship was really cool because, toward the end, Philip doesn't want to do spy stuff anymore. And I don't know. I love the show, but I really, really love him as a partner, as a dad, And like his commitment is super hot to me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He also doesn't mind when she bones other people for work, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do you go wrong there? I say this as a person in a monogamous relationship, a happy one. But yes.
I love it.
Okay.
All right.
Who's your number 3?
Angel.
I have never watched Buffy.
And it's like the HBs were reading my mind because I was working on this list and I was like, oh, Angel. And I was just like, you know what, Erin, you need to, this was my sick day this week. And I'm like, I'm just going to watch some YouTubes, just watch a few YouTubes of Buffy and Angel doing their thing. And then like the next day, someone posted like, hey guys, I'm watching Buffy for the first time. Does anyone know of any heroes that are like Angel? And I was like, no one is like Angel. So I just thought that was like, man, there's like something out there in the zeitgeist or whatever right now. But man, Angel, David Boreanaz, I will follow you anywhere. I just, man, I watched Bones for that, man. And
oh yeah,
no one wants to watch Bones, but they do. Like, I honestly feel like there's no one out there that, like, genuinely likes watching Bones, but we all do.
Yep.
And we did it for, like, 12 years.
We absolutely
He's just such a handsome man. Man, that scene where Buffy kills him is just the saddest, most heart-wrenching scene.
That jawline, you know?
Oh, God. And, like, the brow line. Like, he's just a Neanderthal who can come and get it whenever he wants. David Boreanaz, Angel. He's just trying to do the right thing. I think that's a strong through line in my guys. Not always doing it right, but always trying to do the right thing.
Oh, it's trying.
To their fault.
Okay, the top 3, once again, I am having a really hard time.
You can do it.
I think... All right, my number 3 is Colonel Brandon.
Who is that?
From Sense and Sensibility.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Colonel Brandon from Sense and Sensibility. And I love him because in England times, he meets he's 35. He meets this 17-year-old. He's like stayed true to his one true love, which I, have a hard time with to begin with. However, you have
a hard time with staying true to your one true love.
She died.
Oh, got it. Okay.
She would want you to move on. Also, you were never actually with her.
It's in England times that I've never really been able to. Yeah. I thought I've seen the movie, but because this is Alan Rickman, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But then he adds to that by like courting this 17-year-old. And then the moment that she shows she is not interested in him, but interested in this other dude, he just drops it. And he just is a friend to her, and he's a friend to her family, and he's really good to them, and he's heartbroken, obviously. But all of his actions center around her comfort level, her level of interest, where she is. Like, she's the one who has to end up making the moves to like get to know him better toward the end. And it's just a beautiful goddamn concept. And I feel like when she and her sister inevitably become romance authors themselves, he's going to be the first one that like tells everybody that they are behind the pen name, because he will just be so proud of any accomplishment. Colonel Brandon.
When you said his name, I thought of like a modern military drama. I was like, what could this possibly be from? Like NCIS or something? Anyway.
Yeah.
Number two is U.S. Marshal Raylan Givens. Timothy Oliphant. It's Justified. Timothy Oliphant.
I love Justified. God damn it.
Yeah.
All right.
You're thinking about him right now, aren't you? And his hat and his Henley shirt.
Well, and actually, he almost made the list for his new show with Drew Barrymore, Santa Clarita Diet.
Which I do not like, but I will watch because I will watch that man do anything, especially some kind of like rough around the edges law enforcement thing. I love Raylan Givens. He's so funny. He's trying to do the right thing, but he's not always doing it the right way.
Nope.
Oh, I love it. I love him.
No.
And none of the women on that show ever deserve him. Not even Winona.
No, they absolutely do. Especially
How
not
dare
Winona.
you?
Fuck you. I don't like Winona.
Oh, okay. I thought you were disagreeing with me, and I was like, no, fuck you.
No.
No, none of them will just buck up and like, you know, like he has a hard schedule and you just need to deal with that. Yeah. Sorry that you're a court reporter or whatever and you're jealous that he's like a cool, but yeah.
Marshall.
Yeah, sorry. Get a babysitter. He's going to be home late. It's not hard. Okay, it is hard. That is actually very hard, I'm sure. But like,
it is super hard.
Listen, Winona, you've got Timothy Oliphant, the sexiest version of him. Cope.
Yeah. Not to mention that, like, it's like marrying a surgeon and being, or like a doctor and being like, I'm sorry, what are these hours? Like, you knew that.
Yeah.
You knew he was a U.S. Marshal.
You divorced him the first time. So you double knew that. You still got knocked up by him. So, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Anyway. All right. Yeah, he's hot. All right. Number 2.
Fuck. All right. I think my number 2 has to be Gilbert Blythe.
Aww.
From Anne of Green Gables.
Gilbert.
He might be my number 1.
Really?
I don't know. I love him. I love that he's just had this thing for this one carrot-headed girl his whole life. I love his bumbling in trying to express his feelings for her. I love the fact that like he follows her everywhere in like not a creepy way.
Yeah.
I love that he's always secretly so proud of her when she beats him at every academic contest. Like he is just he's a dream. He's dreamy. He's fucking dreamy. That Canadian newsboy capped hottie.
I love it. I love this pick.
I think he's actually my number 1.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, I love Gilbert Blythe so much. I love that eventually he gets lost in Europe somewhere and she has to go save him. I love everything about it. So, there you go.
Do you know my
who's your number 1?
Do you know it?
No.
How
as
are we
soon
friends?
as you say it, I'm going to know it, but I can't think of it.
I imagine in my brain the squeal you're going to make when I tell you that my number 1 fictional character is Special Agent Fox Mulder.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
What a dreamboat.
My gosh.
Oh, he's so damaged. He's so noble. Oh, God.
So noble. He won't let anything get in between him and the truth.
Oh gosh, no, yeah, he's just trying to save the world. No one believes him except one woman, Special Agent Dana Scully, and he loves her so much.
Yep.
The only problem there ever was with the X-Files, can you listen to me? There's so many fucking problems with the X-Files, you guys. The one problem there ever was with the X-Files is that all the baby making in that show happened off screen. All of it.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
They just show up with a baby. Bullshit.
Super bullshit.
But, oh man, I love Fox Mulder. I love him.
Although, if you want to see Fox Mulder doing a bunch of sexy times, just watch Californication and forget the rest of his personality.
But, see, that's the thing. It's not because David Duchovny is hot. Like,
which he is.
Raylan Givens is in no small part because of Timothy Oliphant and his face and how he is. But David Duchovny really doesn't do it for me. It's specifically the character of Fox Mulder. It's like that broody. He's so broody. He's so weird. He so needs saving, specifically by Dana. He's such a great character. Yeah. Incredible.
Okay, well, I've already told you my number 1. So
yeah, what's your number 2?
Oh, what a sillykins I am. Zoe from Firefly is my number 2.
Oh, no. It would be so weird. I can't.
What?
It would be so weird. It would be like smooching yourself.
What? I am not as badass as Zoe. I can't kick anybody's ass.
I was thinking of Kaylee.
No.
I was thinking, okay, I'm like, whoa. Like,
no.
I was thinking of Kay Winnett, Lee Fry, not Zoe. I'm good. I'm good. I imagined
Zoe,
you and Jewel.
Wash's wife.
Yeah. I was like, woof, no. Zoe's super hot. Got it.
Yeah.
Captain Mal almost made my list, actually. If this would have been a top 10, you would have seen some Firefly characters on here.
Yeah. Mal almost made my list, too. But really, my heart lies with Zoe. She's so excellent because you know what? Just like, I also think that Colonel Brandon would be goofy behind closed doors. But
Zoe, we know, is goofy behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Because we get some of those scenes.
Yeah. She is so together and on the ball and competent and friggin' foxy and like will kick everyone's asses. I don't care who you put in front of her. She will kick their asses. But then the moment that she and Wash go back to their little cabinsies, like you see a totally different side of Zoe. And so I realized in my top 5 that I just really love Michael. Because he has different aspects of all of these people. Like he's incredibly committed, not only to me, but like our family and our goals. And he's very serious when you need him to be. And a lot of people are like, you're so bubbly and you're so this, like, how do you and Michael work? And it's partially because when it's just us or like with Ember or whatever, he's super goofy, but not a lot of people get to see that. Mm-hmm. And that's my top 5, mostly from TV.
Yeah. I just keep thinking about that episode where they're all being interrogated and Wash is like, have you ever been with a warrior woman? The legs, where the legs meet the rest of the body. Anyway. She was an alias too. She was a villain, right? That actress?
I think so.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Bing boom bong. This is Melody's an Idiot with Melody. Or Melody is still terrible at favorites. Okay, this little segment is me interrupting from post because what the actual fuck? How is my number 1 not Jamie Fraser? How did I completely and utterly overlook Jamie motherfucking Fraser from Outlander? Coach Taylor, I'm sorry, you're gone. Coach Taylor, you're great, but you gotta get bumped off the list because Jamie Alexander Malcolm Mackenzie Fraser is and will forever be my number 1. Okay. Sorry, everybody. Bing, boom, bong. Segment over.
All right. More emails.
Okay.
We're at Meredith. Okay. Meredith. Okay. Dear Erin and Melody, in honor of your upcoming 1-year anniversary episode, I wanted to reach out and say how much I love your podcast. Look forward to a new episode every Monday and re-listen to episodes all the time. I think she re-listens? Man, I don't even do that. Thanks, Meredith. I think you're both hilarious and often find myself saying to my husband, you know that podcast I listen to? Well, one of the podcasters said, I do this all the time, too. Because of Erin, I discovered Reading Jane Austen at Downton Abbey, the best Spotify playlist there is. That was me. Became a fangirl of the Tim and Hannah motorcycle saga on Insta stories. They're not together, guys. I'm sorry. And learned how to make a London fog latte at home. Because of Melody, I learned that I should use a microfiber towel on my hair. Who knew? And let creators, authors, podcasters, etc. know that I appreciate them, which is what encouraged me to write this email. You are doing a great job, and your podcast is a huge bright spot in my week. I have a request question. I'd love to hear your answer on the 1-year anniversary episode. I know you review reader-recommended books and often mention the romance genres that you would enjoy, but I'd love to hear some of your personal favorite romance books not already reviewed on the podcast and that you would read and would recommend. We kind of already answered that, but keep being a badass, Meredith.
I have a couple.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
Are gonna, I think they're gonna end up making their way onto the podcast at some point. Mm-hmm. But I have fallen down quite a few rabbit holes as a result of this podcast. Mm-hmm. And one of them we actually have scheduled probably sometime early next year is Priest by Sierra Simone. And I actually started in the middle. I started with Sinner, which is book 2. It's the priest's brother. And they are so good and super hot. And then I also read, and we have not reviewed, A Scandalous Deal by Joanna Shupe. And that is all about one of the first lady architects, or she is a lady architect, and she has to work under her dad's name because he is simultaneously getting sick and probably with Alzheimer's or something like that, while they're like destitute, and she needs this one like contract to go through. But she's done all of the plans because he's been going downhill for a few years. And the man that she does the plans for doesn't know this and then finds out after a while. So it's really good. Super recommend it. I think it's like a Gilded Age America. But she's from...
What is that? What is Gilded America? That's a Times?
Gilded Age, yeah.
Jesus Christ. I don't know.
Anyway, so that's super good. What do you think?
Here's the thing, guys. I haven't had a lot of time to read extra romance novels. I've read a few, but I've talked about most of them while the podcast is going on. I have romance novels that I read before we started doing the podcast that I super loved, but I am really reluctant to recommend them because I feel like my preferences have changed, and I feel like I don't know if I reread them, if I'd still like them. So I'm going to stay kind of quiet because I don't know.
Totally.
I don't know if the books that I used to read are still the books that I would recommend reading. Mm-hmm. I feel like just the environment of the world has changed in a way that's changed my reading preferences as well. I feel like there are things that I used to be able to have a stomach for that I do not have a stomach for anymore.
Yeah.
And
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. I'm gonna sit this one out because I'm just not sure, and I haven't gotten the opportunity to go back and reread my faves and see if they still are my faves.
Well, and something that was recommended on The Cult is Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating.
Oh, did you read that?
Such joy.
Yeah.
So much joy.
That's the one. Is that the one that was it Blair that was just like all over the internet on, because we're in all of the different, like we're in the Christina Lauren club, we're in the Mariana Zapata club, we're in the Sally Thorne club. And man, did Blair, just the same Blair who, you know, there's only one Blair, tore through the internet about this book. Like she emailed us, she posted it on The Cult, she posted in the group. She's like, she's everywhere.
Good on her, because it is an excellent recommendation. I was so happy when I read it.
It was so funny to me, though, because she emailed us last, and I was like, yeah, Blair, we got it. We see you, girl. Like, we know you like this book. Anyway, all right. What? How do you liked it a lot, I assume? Yeah.
Loved it. Yeah. Loved it. Another hot Asian dude, which we don't get enough of. Okay. Next up, we have Amy. She says, first, I wanted to say you guys have created an amazing community online. And you know what? We haven't, though. You guys are doing it.
Like, we didn't do it. We just chime in every once in a while.
Yeah. Like, I am blown away by you
If it was the community we created online, it would have been the thing that we were talking about, where Melody and I just go back and forth and be like, have you read the book? Yeah, me too. We do the podcast. So that's all you guys.
Yep. But she says it's one where people are making friends, and they've even started a group chat. I think they started it on Slack or something like that.
Oh, they have a group chat? I want to be in the group chat.
Are we not
allowed? We're probably not allowed in the group chat.
I don't know. But
they probably need a place to kind of like shit talk us just a little bit.
As they should.
They should have a safe place where they can complain about us. We don't need to be in your group chat, guys. It's okay.
Right. Okay, her question is, where did you get the bravery to start a podcast, to put yourself out there? And what would you recommend to aspiring podcasters, YouTubers, or romance novel writers who are terrified of putting themselves out there to help them overcome their fear? Love you guys both. Sincerely, Amy.
I had zero fear about this. Did you have any fear?
I had some fear.
I had a little professional fear.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we talked about maybe putting a different name on this for you. Just because of professional fear, which I get. I had a little bit of fear just because I felt like while I love this intensely, I cannot even begin to call myself an expert on Romancelandia. Yeah.
Most of you guys know a hell of a lot more about romance than we do.
Yeah. Like a lot of times in The Cult, I feel like a fucking poser. So I had some fear about that. And then, of course, there's always the fear of like, what if I come off as blah, blah, blah. But I think part of it, we sort of had a leg up on a lot of other people just because we both come from a performance background with speech.
Yeah.
So I think we got a lot of our nerves out early on with performing in front of other people but they're like scripted performances. So this is definitely different. I wish that I had done more impromptu in college so that I was better at this. But Yeah, we had a little bit of a leg up because of that. The thing that I have to say to you is just do it. Just try it. Like, your voice is absolutely worthwhile. Your perspective is unlike any other, really. And that's something that the world could probably use. So
yeah. And don't present like a more polished version of yourself. Just do the you that is you. I mean, it's got to be good quality audio or people just cannot put their ears on it. Right. But it doesn't have to be. You don't have to edit out every like and every... Right. You don't have to present yourself in a certain way. People like it when you make mistakes because it feels like they're talking to real people. And I think that's something that we've struggled with a little bit of like, ooh, in that one, we had a lot of or we screwed up the story, or we called 10 Things I Hate About You, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, or we got the name of this actress wrong or whatever. Don't have anxiety about that because people don't care.
People will forgive you, if nothing else.
Yeah, we'll forgive you. And like, there have been times where I'm like, ooh, I straight up said something that was like not even kind of true about the world. And like, we got 0 emails about it because people just are like, yeah, I make mistakes too. People don't care. So feel free to make mistakes. I would also say, if you're going to start a podcast, make sure you do it in a, well, I don't know, just do whatever you want to do. But if you're looking to have like a popular podcast, which I don't know if we even are, but like, I feel like we're doing pretty good. Try to find a niche area. Cause we thought about starting like a love and sex advice podcast. Or like a American Bachelor podcast. Right. I strongly feel that if we had done either of those, we would be nowhere right now. We would have 0 listeners because it's so oversaturated. Absolutely. So try to find something that, you're passionate about, but try to find something that is unique to you. And not that there aren't a lot of romance novel podcasts out there, but we all kind of started around the same time. Like, more are popping up now. But like, there weren't a lot when we started out. And I think that's probably the only reason we were successful. So that's something to think about.
Yeah. And Erin can't speak to overcoming her fear of being a romance novelist because she won't even send her shit to me.
I won't.
You dick.
I won't. It's twofold.
What about it?
Part of it is like, it's a dream that's like such a dream that you can't even think about trying it, because if it doesn't work, it's such a part of you that like cannot be, it's like,
Erin, you've spent hundreds of hours thinking about it, not just writing, but you've looked into self-publishing. You've done all of those things.
I have full series of books. Like, I have written, like, I have so much books.
And you're so good. I've seen your other work in other areas, and it's goddamn amazing. Just send it to me for my birthday.
I won't.
That's all I want for my birthday.
I think the other thing of it is like the idea of like, it is just a thing that is for me. And I have so many things that are for me, but are not just for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the moment you unleash that, it's no longer just for you. You allow other people to have a piece of it and have a say on it. And like, right now in my whole life, I've just been able to write books as a hobby just for me. And the moment I open that door, that phase is over.
All right.
And that's hard. It's really hard.
I know.
Anyway.
I just think that we can get there.
Jesus Christ. Maybe for your birthday, which is a ways off. So
for my birthday would be great. Christmas would be most excellent, but my birthday would certainly work too.
Okay. All right. Maybe.
Yeah. Just think about it.
Just like maybe like a chapter.
One chapter. That's great.
Sure.
I would love that. All right. You want to read Bethany's?
All right. Bethany says, hello, ladies. First off, thank you for doing what you do. A year ago, I moved 5 states away from my home of 10 years, not knowing a soul. Oh, I hear you, Bethany. And I started listening a few months back. I feel like I have a tribe, so thank you. That's very sweet. First, the awkward. Oh, I have an awkward story and a hooray one. Don't feel obligated to share, though. I know you're going to have amazing submissions. Fair, Bethany, but check it out. You made it. All right. First, the awkward. I met someone who this is the girl with the purse.
Yes.
I met someone who I work with on projects at work, but we don't work in the same department. Anyway, we realized our histories aligned a little bit. Our parents lived 10 minutes away from each other, 2 states away. I partied one night my senior year of high school in the field house next to his house. Anyway, we're friends. People
I'm
assume
sorry,
more.
no, I have to stop you.
Yeah.
In the field next to his house.
Oh,
not a
I
field
just read
house.
field house because that's where I partied in college. Was that even a bar when we were both there, the field house? I don't know.
Yeah, field house was
good.
a bar. Mm-hmm.
In the field next to his house. Anyway, so it's the Midwest. Anyway, we're friends. People assume more, yada, yada, yada. I roll. One day, we decided to take a mini impromptu trip to a local world-famous garden. That sounds fantastic. He drove my car. I have it set up to my Bluetooth, automatically syncs to my phone and starts playing. What was I listening to on the way to meet him at his house? Obviously this podcast, and obviously the red, and obviously the scene where she's being auctioned off. That is probably, of all the scenes, the worst one, except for maybe a couple master buyer mate scenes. It starts off right where I left off before, loudly. My phone was in my purse, and I made the terrible mistake of going for my phone instead of the volume button on my car dash. It played for a solid 45 seconds, and there was no way to talk my way out of it. So I got a look of utter confusion, and then proceeded to talk processes about work for 45 minutes straight. Bethany, you could have just explained it was a book. We were talking. You could have explained it was a comedy podcast where we read sexy novels. All right. We had a lovely evening walking the gardens and seeing a fountain show. Sounds like a date, Bethany. Anyway,
It
yada,
does.
yada, yada.
I'm side-eyeing you, eye roll.
When he got back into the car, he goes, quote, "So maybe no podcast this time around?" Great. All right. The amazing story is my mother works for a small town library, and the women who frequent are always asking for suggestions and thoughts on books. My mother is not a big romance reader, so I usually feed her a few books I've read. Finally, I told her to tell the women to listen to the podcast. My mother shared a few stories of how excited the patrons were coming back after listening. They love the tribe as well. You do you, ladies, because it's phenomenal, Bethany. That's wonderful.
Oh, everything about that is just joy.
Yeah.
And can I say that I love that I drive a car that doesn't have a Bluetooth situation? Because I don't think I would ever hook my phone up to a Bluetooth.
I've got a thing that hooks. I drive a car with a tape deck, and yet I have engineered it to do it.
No.
Yeah.
Nope. Not happening. All right.
I've shared where it's worse when it's your own, and then you've got to use your own voice to explain it. It's bad when it's your voice talking about the alien butt plugs, and then you've got to be like, "One smoothie, please," in your own voice that you were just listening to talk about the alien butt plugs. All right.
Yeah.
1 hour and 43 minutes. We can do this. Okay. Tabitha says, anniversary show question. I hope this isn't something you cover on the regular and I've missed it. I only listen to podcasts of books I've read. I either need to figure out how to make you read only the books I've read. Or get to work on a massive TBR pile, or get over myself and listen to the episodes of the books I probably won't read. But let's be clear, I enjoy the podcast regardless. I love that. So my question is, what is your standard response? Oh, this is for Melody, who think romance is subpar or illegitimate genre. You know, these folks who roll their eyes and snicker if you tell them you read romance. Looking forward to the anniversary edition. Congrats, ladies. Tabitha. So I think the answer to that is to go listen to the Things She Does podcast.
Oh, yeah. I get into it a little bit there. Yeah, absolutely. I did an interview on a podcast called The Things She Does. I think it's like episode 43 or something like that. But yeah, I talk a little bit about the great things about romance. And I don't know. I had to vent in the cult a little while ago because I found a romance naysayer in my backyard that I was so shocked by. Because
and so did Sarah Nestle. There's another one out there too, if you can find her post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really weird. I think it was just a sort of, not attention seeking, but one of those things that you just like type as if Facebook is Twitter and you don't expect people to actually respond. But she was essentially like, I'll never believe that romance is... Well, so first of all, she said romance, and then in parentheses, she said something like porn for ladies or something like that. I'll never believe it's legitimate literature.
Mm-hmm. Something that went unsaid in your conversation with this woman is that porn for ladies is just porn, regular
It's just
type
porn. Right.
I mean, we really focused on the whole, like, romance isn't a genre, which is a big part of that. But also, porn for ladies is not a thing. Porn is porn for ladies. The end.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Ladies watch porn.
Yes.
So there's that. And we went round and round, but I was very much like, you know, there are sex scenes in quote unquote literature. So I don't know what makes that literature other than it was written a while ago by a white dude.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly I try to point out people's internalized misogyny because I have been that person in my past. And like I said at the top of this episode, in our very first episode, I heard it in myself being like, sometimes I kind of snarkily like romance. Mm-hmm. But I snarkily like a lot of things. It's just that I actually do love romance as a genre.
Right.
So I try to point out people's internalized misogyny in that, you know, it's not necessarily a beach read. It's not a guilty pleasure. It's not any of those things just because it's created and generally loved by women.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it comes down to for a lot of people.
There's no reason why, like, James Bond gets to be literature. And, like, those books get to be literature. And that is absolutely a male fantasy and a male sex fantasy.
Not only that, but it's just as formulaic. Mm-hmm. People are like, oh, romance is formulaic, so of course it's not literature. And I'm like, no, fuck you. So many things are formulaic.
Yeah.
It doesn't make them not good. So, yeah, I could write a dissertation on this, but mostly I just try to point out to people that they're working from a really gross point of misogyny, and that's their launching pad. And once people can recognize that, usually they'll come around to the fact that, you know, good writing happens in romance, just like shitty writing happens in every other genre and subgenre.
Right.
So, yeah. All right. This one is from Allie. Hi, Erin and Melody. Happy anniversary. I'm writing just to say thank you. Thank you for this amazing podcast and for the cult, aka the very best place on the internet. I can only imagine how much work goes into this, and I'm sure it gets stressful at times. So I wanted to say thank you. You are both so loved and appreciated by our amazing little community. On the surface, the podcast seems like such a simple concept, two friends talking about books, but oh, it is so much more than that. It is the definition of, quote, pure joy. Oh, God.
Aww.
It's about connectivity, empowerment, feminism, love, and above all else, sharing. Sharing stories, sharing moments, sharing passion, sharing interests, sharing hardship, and sharing strength. Last fall, my very best friend, Becky, told me about the podcast and basically said, listen immediately. And since that moment, we found such a fulfilling shared joy in chatting about the podcast each week. Listening to you both connect as friends who clearly respect and love each other so much has brought me and Bex closer than we ever were before. And I can't tell you how much this means to me, so thank you. And thank you for the cult. Oh, the cult! Exclamation point. How does such magic actually exist? I will tell you how. You two. No, again, it's not at all us. I can't even come up with some of the brilliance that these people...
Just from this email.
Are you crying?
No. But
okay.
It's fine. But she is clearly the Melody in this friendship. And I already know, just from the cult and watching her posts and stuff, I am the Becky in the friendship. Like, I just really like... the email's like, and the cult. Anyway,
okay.
Sorry. Continue.
Okay, so she says, you two, when two incredible women reach out to the world like you have, other incredible women, men, people feel the gravitational pull of your awesomeness, and the outcome is the cult. The world's most supportive, inclusive, hilarious, important, joyful group of humans. I feel so lucky to be part of this group and to be able to interact with everyone every day. This has been an incredibly hard year, especially for women. Heaving Bosoms podcast and the cult and all of the HBs have been the brightest of lights in a very dark time. I found solace with you on days when I felt very alone. I am going to cry. I've found pure joy and side-splitting laughter on days when I would have otherwise cried. And I found pride and confidence in reading a genre that I adore to my very core, when all my life I've downplayed it to those around me. Most importantly, I have found the most joyfully fun way to connect with my best friend at a time in our lives where it's so hard to find the time to get together.
Us
Thank
too.
you for everything you do. Us too. And for simply being you. Hashtag HB for life. Oh, and P.S. Erin, Chris Pine is the best Chris. Hashtag Pine Nut.
Woo, woo. Maybe she's the Erin. I don't know. I just know I always agree with Becky on the cult for the most part. I don't know who her Chris is though, so I shouldn't say that. She may be one of those Hemsworths.
Or she might even be
fuck you.
Evans.
No.
An Evans.
That's a myth. I haven't ever seen one of those out in the wild. Chris Evans fan.
Okay, and then there's a final postscript. She goes, "Thank you also for introducing me to alien erotica. Universe bless Grace Goodwin." When someone asked me how I could possibly be interested in romance novels, my favorite and well-used response is to say, "Oh, I don't know. Do your books have an anal training box in them?" It's guaranteed to shut the conversation down and prevent further asshat questions. So Tabitha, maybe that's the route you go.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Is there anything you want to say about Allie's email? I mean, other than I'm crying and I don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, I just feel like it just sounds so familiar. Even though us reading them just seems to be like us just congratulating ourselves. Like, that's what this
it's kind of awkward.
It's just like, hey, Mel, what a great job you're doing. Hey, me, what a great job I'm doing.
I know. I was putting things together and I was just like, I kind of feel like this is weird because it might just be a circle jerk.
It's not a circle jerk. We're only two people. It's like, it's 2 points on a line. It's a line jerk.
Staring into each other's eyes, furiously masturbating.
Oh my God, we're the guy from Split.
Ew! Okay.
All right. Okay. Haley. All right. Hi, Melody and Erin. Also, I think it's telling which ones of you said to Erin and Melody and which ones of you said Melody and Erin. I think it's clear who your favorites are. All right. Hashtag Slytherin for life. I hope this reaches you before you record your anniversary show. Tend to be a procrastinator even when it comes to sending fan mail. I found the podcast via your review of The Hating Game, fell down a rabbit hole, and haven't looked back since. Listening to you both is like getting to hang out with your best friend. And don't even get me started on the joy, capitalized, I love that, that is the geriatric friendship called. I love your creativity, your humor, getting the teensiest window into your beautiful friendship, the lady love, and of course, all the soapboxes and segments and boners. Mustn't forget about those.
Never forget about the boners.
Thank you for giving us something so wonderful. You've changed the way I read and feel about romance. We heard a lot of that. I make no more excuses for liking what I like. And
mission accomplished. Oh, yeah. Can I read her poem?
Yeah. So recently on the cult, somebody said that they were in the mood for a Persephone Hades romance. And I was like, ugh, herbs. Like, I'm like, whatever. And then...
Meanwhile, I was into it.
Yeah, I know you were into it, but I herbs it. I was like, herbs in that post. And then... if somebody missed the whatever episode it was where I talked about herbsing, like they just have no idea what's going on.
They have no idea.
And you never will until you find it. Anyway, and then Haley posted this poem, and then after I read the poem, I'm like, all right. Like,
oh shit.
I'm suddenly in the mood for a Hades Persephone romance. Anyway, yeah, go ahead and you should read it in your butter voice instead of my eye roll voice. So you should do this in your buttery smooth velvet voice.
Indeed. And listener, if you are out there and you know a really good Hades Persephone romance, either join the cult and post it there, email us, you can get in touch with us in any way and we will share it all over the place.
And if you have writing you want to share on the cult, please do. We don't have a problem with self-promotion unless the cult, as long as you guys are HBs and you're promoting the thing that you did and you're not joining the group to promote the thing you did, we're fine with it. We just don't want it to become like an advertising group like some of these romance groups have become. So if you got a thing that you're doing, go ahead and post it. Fine by us.
Yeah.
All right.
We're into it. Okay, so this is called The Pomegranate by Haley Jones. I was not stolen. When the dirt opened ragged like a wound, I was not afraid. For he had heard my cry, keening into the night garden, and answered my unspoken prayer. I am nothing but death, he whispered. I know. I will bring you nothing but death. I know. But I didn't care, because my bones were the ribcage of the world, my hips the seat of life, and the darkness in my veins sang when he touched me. I gave myself willingly, and so did he. And when it was time for me to choose, I ate the ripe red pomegranate until my belly ached with it, and sucked the juice from his fingers like wine, like blood, like the essence of life itself. And when he bowed to me and called me queen, I knew we were the world reborn. Shit!
Good
it's so
work,
good.
Haley. The poetry snaps.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Also, Haley recently had a dream that Tom Hardy was...
Are we allowed to share this? It's the best dream.
It's the best dream. I think we have to share it, and I don't think she would mind.
She had this dream where Tom Hardy... First of all, she's not into Tom Hardy, much like I'm not into Tom Hardy. He does nothing for me. This is Erin. Right. I don't see it. Tom Hardy had her piggyback, gave her a piggyback ride, and she said he was so strong and so fast. And then he taught a lecture on the poetry between World War I and World War II.
Uh-huh.
What an incredible dream about Tom Hardy.
What an incredible mind she has.
Yes. I love the idea of a piggyback ride, and he's so strong and so fast. And then what? Just deposited her in the classroom where he proceeded to teach poetry?
I guess. It's so good.
Oh, what a great dream.
Oh, my God. All right. This has been an amazing year, and we are so thankful for you guys. Goddess bless everyone. Mm-hmm. I kind of don't know what to do with myself, so thank you. And anytime things get stressful, like this is the payoff. Like, yep. It's kind of amazing.
All right, so should we talk about what's going to happen the next few months, Melody?
Oh yeah.
Wait, the first thing is the next episode is going to be a special Halloween episode. It's not going to be the Highlander book. It's going to be
Mating the Huntress by, I don't know if it's Talia or Talia, and I forgot to DM her before we made the announcement. Damn it. I think it's Talia Hibbert.
I was going to say, I thought it was Talia Hibbert. Oh, no.
Damn it. Oh, no. All right. Mating the Huntress.
Yes.
Look that up and read it. It's a novella. It's delicious.
It's
fantastic. Can't wait to review it. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's that. And then I do have a bit of an announcement because I've been a little bit sneaky. This is actually going to be a little bit awkward because I haven't done a personal announcement yet. And so it's actually getting awkward because I'm like showing up and people are like, huh,
how is it possible that you haven't done a personal announcement when you are so voluminous?
So pregnant.
So pregnant.
So pregnant.
Like, this one started with your belly was like, it's huge.
I was doing a belly dance for Erin.
It was incredible.
Very. Yeah. So I am about 7 months pregnant. I've just entered the 3rd trimester. I'm really excited about it. I think we kept this one a little bit closer to the vest just because like I said, I'm still running into people. And then later on, they'll talk to Michael and be like, hey, so I didn't want to ask in front of Melody.
Noticed Melody has a tumor on her front. And she's being very casual about it. Her skin looks great.
Yeah. Her skin looks great. She's glowing. Is Melody glowing? Yeah. I don't know. I wanted to keep this one a little bit closer just because I had a miscarriage right before this, and every single time I had like an ache or a pain, which is much more common in a second pregnancy. It just felt like something that needed to be protected and cherished and, done quietly. So I'm pretty fucking pregnant. Super excited about it. Little thing is already digging its little feet underneath my ribs in a way that is endearing until it's not.
Oof. It's already not. Oh, man.
Due in late December. So in January and February, we're going to have a series of guest podcasts where either Erin or I are with another person. And then we'll regroup probably in March to get back to the regular Heaving Bosoms programming.
Should we tell them who the guests are and what we're going to do?
One of our guests is going to be Jenny Nordbach from the Wicked Wallflowers Club.
Mm-hmm.
Super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a couple of cultists who we knew before podcast who are going to be involved. Sarah Netzley is an EW writer and also a pal and also a cultist. So that's really exciting.
One will be a man who I think will have read his first romance novel for the podcast, so that'll be good.
Woo!
He is not in the cult, but he is an avid listener because he doesn't have Facebook.
Yeah,
so we're going to have some
really
different
exciting
perspectives going on.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's my big news. I should probably do a personal announcement before this comes out so that people... Right? It's super awkward. All right.
A lot of people found out I was engaged via podcast, so...
Oh,
I mean, it's not the
good.
worst. They're mad for a little bit, but then they get over it.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, and again, it's like if I haven't seen you in person, if you have not borne witness to the belly,
I don't know how you're hiding it. Because
well, that's the thing. I'm not hiding it. I've just noticed that I don't take a lot of pictures of myself anymore. At least not like full body pictures, you know? So I don't, anything I post is like my head and another person's head, and that's about it. So anyway. All right. I think this was our lady love, right?
Yeah. The whole thing was the lady love.
Yeah. We love you.
We love
so
you
much.
There's no reason to make this over 2 hours. We can just,
Right.
All right.
So keep being a badass and love yourself as much as you love reaching for the volume button, not your cell phone.
Important HB skill.
Yes. All right. I love you so much, Erin. Thank you for doing this with me.
I love you too. Happy podiversary. See you next week for a spooky, scary book.
Yes.
Bye, Mel.
Bye.
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list, though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.